everyone and welcome to the Kiki London YouTube channel. My name's Amanda and in today's video I'm going to be working on my own nails. Now I thought I would mix it up a little bit as a lot of the videos I work on display tips or a practice hand, and I know sometimes it's nicer to see what a set would look like on a real hand. But for today's video I have just applied some press on nail tips to my own nails so we can jump straight in with the gel polish design. Now for this gel polish design I wanted to focus on using foils and how to create an ombre with foils. So I'm starting straight off on the thumbnail by applying my foil gel. Now I want to do an ombre with the foils like I said, so I've applied the foil gel roughly to half of the nail tip. And then I'm using my ombre brush to blend that back, just so there's not a harsh line where the foil is going to meet that natural nail area. Then for my foils, I'm going to be using this beautiful, pretty pink pastel marble one. This is such a gorgeous foil. So I'm going to press that down to begin with using my thumb, just to make sure it's fully adhered to the nail. I find it a little bit easier to do that with my thumb, just because I can feel that it's properly pressed down. Then I switch to my Kiki London silicone tool, and I use this to rub out any creases and just to make sure there's a good application. Now this applied fairly good. Usually I would put a gel polish colour underneath my foil just to cover any teeny tiny gaps that don't apply very well. But to say that I applied this over a clear tip, I felt as though it applied quite good. I'm just coming in and tapping over any areas where there are little pieces missing. Then to finish off the ombre effect, I'm going to be using the beautiful pink tint. Now I'm applying a pink tint. I'm starting off at that cuticle area, getting a nice neat cuticle line with it, and then fading it down over the foil. Now I did do this same foil ombre on the ring finger as well, but I apply it and do the ombre slightly different on the ring finger. So let me know which one you think looks better in the comments below. I personally felt as though the ring finger turned out a little bit better. But all I'm doing to begin with is applying that first coat of pink tint, making sure my sidewalls are nice and neat and that I've got a nice neat cuticle line. And then I'm going to come in with the Kiki London base coat at the tip of the nail. So because I want this to ombre, I felt as though I needed something to help make that pink tint merge over the foil. So you could either use a base coat or a top coat for this. I decided to use the base coat just because I had that on hand, but you could use either and it would work the same. If you was going to be popping anything else over the top though, then I'd recommend sticking with the base coat. Then all I'm doing is blending that pink tint into the clear base coat, and because it's a subtle soft colour with a little bit of a shimmer to it, it makes a really easy ombre. This would have been a little bit trickier if you were using a more opaque colour. So I've cured that first coat and then I'm going to come in and do the second coat. Now I don't worry too much how the first coat on an ombre looks, because it always looks a hell of a lot better once you apply that second coat. So I'm coming in with the pink tint again, just making sure to get a nice neat cuticle line. I don't want to apply too much, but I do want to make sure I've got enough coverage there that it's going to cover that line where the foil meets the natural nail, and it's also going to make sure that the colour is opaque enough. And then once again, just blending it, it blends effortlessly because of that shimmer. And even if a little bit of the shimmer goes over the foil, it gives off that really soft, pretty effect. So like I said, I'm going to do the same on the ring finger. So to start off with, I'm doing it all exactly the same, applying a thin layer of foil gel and blending it back using the ombre brush. Now when you are applying your foil gel, I like to make sure I've definitely got enough down on those sidewalls, as I personally find that that's the trickiest part for me, getting the foil to transfer right along the sidewalls of the tip. So I'm pressing that foil down, and again I'm really focusing on getting a good adherence using my thumb to begin with, and then using the silicone tool I'm going to ease out any creases and really rub this down into the foil gel. With these full cover foils especially, you do need to spend a little bit of time really rubbing them down until you start seeing that image transfer from the foil back in. So I slowly peel it back and I notice I'm not 100% happy with the transfer. So I give it another little rub and then peel it back. And you can see where I have blended the foil gel back, we haven't got that crisp straight line where the foil ends. Whenever you're doing an ombre, you don't want there to be this harsh straight line where that first colour ends, because it just doesn't look as natural. So this is where I did it slightly different to the thumbnail. I come in with the base coat first of all, and I made sure this covered the entire part of the foil. This way I just felt as though it made it a little bit easier when I was blending the pink tint, as I had a little bit more of the base coat down than what I did on the thumbnail, and I just felt as though the ombre turned out a lot nicer and a lot softer. Coming in with our first coat of colour again, as you can see, I turn my brush on its side to get a nice neat application around the cuticles and the side walls. I'm trying my best not to get any product on the skin or the cuticles, but if you do get any product on the skin, just be sure to remove it before you pop the nail in to cure. Now, when it comes to ombre in, I'm not typically working how I would when I do a normal ombre, because it's really, really easy to blend this colour in. I kind of just went backwards and forwards a couple of times with the ombre brush, and then I did also come up and down the nail vertically as well, just because I felt as though there wasn't really much ombreing to do as such. It was really, really effortless with the pink tint. I would recommend the pink tint for any kind of ombre, to be honest. The shimmer just makes it a lot easier. So once I cured that first coat, I'm coming in and doing the exact same for the second coat. So as you can see, I'm getting around those side walls, but I'm focusing a lot of my product on the center of the nail, just because I want to build up the coverage, and also because where the foil is quite vibrant on this particular nail, I want to make sure that we can blend over it nicely and you can't see that line of where the foil ends. So I'm mainly coming on in vertically with my brush and then going side to side just to help pull that bit of shimmer down. And I did add a little bit more product right over that blend line, just because I just wasn't 100% happy with the product. And if you work nice and thin when you're applying your gel polish, if you do need a little bit more when you're doing anything nail art wise, you can come in with it more. I always find it's better to apply less and then add a little bit more if it's needed, rather than apply a lot to begin with. So on to the next two nails, I'm going to be coming in with the beautiful Sweetheart. Now this is just an absolutely beautiful pink. After using lots of wintry and Christmassy colours, it was really nice to come in with a nice girly pink colour, to be honest. I did have a Valentine's Day set of nails in mind, but then I felt as though it was a little bit early to pop a Valentine's set up on the channel, but I still wanted to go with something soft and girly, so that was why I decided to go for the pink marbles in this set, and I felt like Sweetheart complemented those marbles beautifully. It does still have like a little bit of a hint of Valentine's Day to it, because it's just nice and pretty and girly and pink, but without being full on roses and love hearts. Now with the Sweetheart, I'm just applying this to the pointer and the ring finger. So I'm coming in with my first coat of colour. And I like to keep my coats of colour really, really thin, especially that first coat of colour. With my first coat of colour, I'm mainly focusing on getting a nice neat cuticle line and nice neat side walls, and just getting a thin base down. I did touch my skin there slightly with the colour, so I've taken the Kiki London angled nail art brush, wiped it onto one of the alcohol pads, and then I've just cleaned up around that cuticle area just to make sure that any product that was on the skin or the cuticles is removed before popping it into cure. Then when it comes to applying that second coat of colour, you haven't got to stress as much about getting a nice neat cuticle line, as you're just following the base colour that you've already popped down. So then I'm just coming over the top. Again, you've still got to be really careful around those cuticle areas, but I always just find the second coat of colour a lot easier to apply. Now I keep my first coat of colour super, super thin, and then I apply my second coat of colour ever so slightly thicker. So it is still a thin coat, but it's just slightly thicker than that first coat of colour. And then I find that with 99% of my Kiki London colours, 2 coats is perfect for a full opaque coverage. So I'm going to pop that in to cure for 30 seconds, and like I said, just how much of a beautiful colour is it? Now on the pointer finger, I want to do a full foil nail, so I'm going to be using the same marble foil that I used for the ombres, but with my foil gel I'm applying it to the entire nail. Now I do find when you pop a colour underneath your foils, they look slightly different than if you use them over a clear tip. So you will notice on the 2 nails where I've got them over just the tip of the nail, there's no colour underneath, so they look a little bit softer, where we've got them over the top of this opaque base, they kind of look a little bit more opaque, if that makes sense. Now I personally do always recommend popping your foils over a coloured base. I could have done this in the ombre, to be honest, I just didn't think about it when I was doing it, but I do like the effect that it gives off, because it did make the foils look a little bit softer. So as you can see, I'm rubbing it down exactly the same as what I did on the foil ombre nails, spending a lot of time really working around that apex area. Although these are press-on nails, they have quite a high apex to them, which can make it a little bit tricky when it comes to applying foils because you're not applying them over a flat surface. So I did spend a little bit extra time just giving it a good rub, and then it didn't apply perfectly, but because of the type of foil, I'm able to come in and just fix up any areas that need a little bit more of the foil pressed on. And then where you have got that colour that matches the foil pretty well underneath, any tiny little gaps or any tiny little imperfections in the foil aren't going to be as noticeable. Now on to the little finger, I wanted a little bit of sparkle, so I went for the beautiful Champagne Spritz. This is one of my favourite glitter gel polishes from Kiki London. Now it is a gorgeous colour, it's jam-packed with glitter, so as you can see I actually started off applying it at the tip there, and I did this because I just wanted to see what it would look like on its own without a base colour underneath, because a lot of the time I tend to pop a base colour underneath my glitters, but I felt as though this looked absolutely beautiful on its own. So I just tested it out by applying it to the tip of the nail to begin with, because then if I wasn't happy with how it looked, or if I changed my mind and wanted a base colour underneath, it'd be easy to wipe that off. Now with my glitter gels, I always apply them in 2 thin coats of colour. I do find you need to work the colour in a little bit because the gel is so jam-packed with glitter, it can be a little bit tricky to apply a thin coat. So I like to just work it with the brush, and then I find you get a nice thin application. You could have also just done a 1 coat of that because it did look really pretty with 1 coat. It gave off that transparent clear tip effect, but I wanted full-on sparkle, so that was why I went for the 2 coats. Moving on to top coating, and as you see I'm using the Kiki London No Wipe top coat. I love the shine that this top coat gives off. Now whenever I'm working on myself or a client and we're doing the thumbs, obviously I always do my thumbs separately. So I will do both thumbs first of all and then cure those, because this way I find you get a nice even cure. Sometimes when your client pops her hand into the lamp, if you've top coated all of the nails and you're curing them all, the thumb is on its side, and sometimes it means the product doesn't cure correctly. So whenever I'm working on the thumbs, I like to do the thumb and cure it separately to the rest of the nails. So I top coated my thumb now, pop that into cure, and then I'm top coating the pointer, ring and little finger. I've skipped applying this top coat to the middle finger because we're going to be applying the crystals. So how pretty do they look once they have been top coated? This top coat gives off the best shine. It is absolutely beautiful. Now because we're going to be applying crystals to the ring finger, I'm going to use my No Wipe rubber top coat because this is amazing for applying your crystals. And for crystals I'm using the Kiki London ones in rose quartz, which was the first ones, and these ones are the pink sapphire. I love these pink sapphire crystals, they are absolutely beautiful. Now for crystals, I wanted to keep this set fairly simple because I felt as though I wanted most of the attention to be on the foils. So I am just going to be applying a few crystals around the cuticle area. But I'm going to start off by applying my No Wipe rubber top coat to the entire nail. It is a slightly thicker top coat, which is what makes it great for applying your crystals, because they do sink ever so slightly into that top coat and it just holds them firmly in place. Then to apply my crystals, I'm using the Kiki London Gem / Dotting Tool. So this has a dotting tool on one end and then a waxy end on the other end, which is perfect for picking up your crystals. And then I tend to use the dotting tool end to move those crystals into place. Now I've just popped down a pink sapphire in the middle. I've went for one of the larger sizes, and then I've done 2 of the rose quartz, and then I've gone back and done 2 of the pink sapphires and just got slightly smaller in size as we've gone along. The No Wipe rubber top coat does require a 60-second cure, so do make sure you're curing that for a full 60 seconds. I then always give my top coat a minute or 2 to cool before I come in and apply my cuticle oil. And for cuticle oil, I'm using the Vitamin E Revitalizing Cuticle Oil. This one is the Sweet Peach, and it is my absolute favourite because it smells amazing. Now I've been neglecting my cuticles, as you can see throughout the video. They look really, really dry. The cold weather isn't helping, but this cuticle Cuticle Oil instantly nourishes them and leaves them looking a hell of a lot better, and they feel a lot softer as well. I'm just terrible at remembering to using it daily, but if you use this daily, it works absolute wonders. And then guys, this is the finished result. So I'm so pleased with my super soft, pretty nails. I can't stop staring at them. Do let me know what you think of this set in the comments below. And let me know if you're looking forward to seeing the Valentine's Day designs. As always, all the products I've used are linked in the description box below, and they are all available on the Kiki London website, so do check that out. If you enjoyed today's video, please do give it a thumbs up and leave us a comment below. And if you aren't already subscribed to the channel, please do consider hitting that subscription button. I upload new videos every single Friday. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Take care, lots of love, bye bye.